All right, welcome. We got another interesting build for you today. So let's jump right to it. Last time we worked with, let me switch screens here. We worked with this part, this 1-digit 7-segment display. And today we're going to work with a little bigger version. Here we're going to have 4 digits to work with. We're going to see how that pans out. And take a look at the back. Get a little closer here. On the previous one we had 8 wires, 2 of which were ground wires. Actually 10 wires, excuse me. Or 10 pins. There's a little better view. The 2 middle ones were ground wires. On this one we have 8 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 6 on each side, so 12. 12 total, with no ground wires. So we're going to have a little bit bigger nest sitting on our breadboard this time around. But they work pretty much exact same as these, except a little twist. And I want to bring that little twist up. Let's see, I need to show you an image that is in Canvas again. I'm going to need this, so let me move this over a little bit, like that, and then slide this over. Just like the last one, we're going to need this little illustration to help us figure out our wiring. It'll just make things a little easier. This time around, we have this D1, D2, D3, and D4, which we didn't have last time. And basically, if we send a load, I'll probably get this backwards. We'll figure it out when we mess around with this. But I think if you, for example, send a low to the D1 wire, that will hook up on this pin, and we send a high to D2, D3, and D4, then it will only be using this display. And if I send a high to this one, and a low to this one, and a high to this one, and a high to this one, then this one will be the active one, and these two will not be displayed. Of course, we send them all to low, D1, 2, 3, and 4 to low, then all 4 of these will be displayed. So what we're going to do today, I just kind of made something up. I thought it'd be kind of cool to have a number kind of move across here. We'll have this first display be a 1, and then it'll be a 2, and that one will go away. Then this will be a 3, and these 2 will go away, and then it'll be a 4. So you'll see a 1, and then a 2, 3, and a 4. Kind of walking across here. And as it moves, the other numbers disappear. When we're done, you're going to have to build something of your own creation. I've just made this one up. I want you to do something else. Now I've been kind of focusing on numbers, but you could put a word up here and just reconfigure the shape to make it spell something. But I'm going to just stick with numbers. So I'm going to move this back over to here, tuck underneath the little view so I can at least see the first part while we're doing this wiring. I'm going to follow their wiring as well. I could do my own wiring, my own pins, but I might as well just follow there, so if I get stuck or forget, I can just look at this and it'll just tell me that, hey, this is how you did it. With one exception, I don't think I'm going to send a wire to 1. That's like the receiving pin or transmitting pin, and I think it can be just the 1 pin, but let's leave it. I mean, you'll notice on the Arduino down here, if you use XBs or something like that, which we won't get into in this class, you've got a TX and an RX, transmitting and receiving. Let's go ahead and risk it and use the 1. I usually avoid these. But let's give it a try, shall we? Alright, let's get the wiring going. Let's just put this into the breadboard. I'm going to make it so that this far pin over here is lined up with 25, because it's really hard to see. Once I push this in here, you can't really tell where the pins are anymore. They disappear. So I put the far one into 25, so I know what I'm going to call pin 12 over here on my illustration is going to be row 25 on my breadboard. That's where I put it in. I'll demonstrate that again. If you don't get that in right, it'll mess everything up. So this far pin on that side, I'm going to make sure it goes into 25. Let me go up one more. That looks good. All right. There's nothing magical about 25. I'm just selecting that. Where's even 25? Yeah, 25. Okay. So then we're going to go around. To the top 6 wires. Then we'll do the bottom 6. I'm just going to wire up exactly as I see it in this little illustration. There's one more thing I need to mention. We are going to need some resistors. So I've got some over here. I separated earlier. The same ones we've been pretty much using the entire time. These 330 ohm resistors. Or if you got 220s, that's fine as well. And it suggested that I put resistors on the D1, D2, D3, and D4 pins. I wrote down here as a reminder to myself. So we're going to add a wire coming out of here. It's going to go into resistor before it heads off into the Arduino. So the first one's a D pin. So I'm going to take my glasses off as well and get a real close look. Come on, little resistor. So we're using the resistor because it's a D, one of these display pins for D1. I'm going to send it way over off to this side. Yeah, this breadboard, some of our breadboards are really hard to get the wires in there, and some are easy, and this one's a hard one. This has got like sections where it's easy and sections where it's difficult. And yeah, it's pretty clear. Seemed a little blurry. I could adjust that. I'm on manual focusing. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually finish the whole thing. So I got my resistor in there, and then I'm going to send this off just like my illustration says over here, and send that to 12. So let's go ahead and do that. There it is in 12. Okay, then I'm going to work my way across. The next one does not require a resistor. It's just A. It's going to light up A right over here. So I'm going to put that in pin 11. So I'm going to work across, move that pin 11. Next one over is it's going to be F, so does not require a resistor. The next one, D2, does require a resistor, so I'm going to go ahead and put one in there. Hopefully it'll just go in easy because that's a tough little spot for my fingers. And it went in. Alright, I had to like spear it in there. I'm going to bend it so it comes out over here somewhere. I actually have this other tool I use once in a while. Don't need those pliers. Kind of, even with them, that was a hard one to go into. Alright. So that looks pretty good. This one we're going to send to 9. It's a long wire I got. Real long one. We're going to send it down to 9. Slowly working our way down on the Arduino. Next one over is D3, so that one's going to need a resistor. I'm going to bend it so I can spear it in case yours is similar to mine. It's hard to get in there. I don't want these two resistors to touch each other either, so I will be mindful of that. Alright, speared that in. Change the view a little bit. And we're going to send this into another row over here. Alright. It's going to be a little bare. Okay, we got it in there. I'm peeking at it. I'm going to bend this over actually like that. Flatten it out. I don't want it touching the other resistor at all. That looks pretty good. I got a decent amount of gap there. So let's finish it up. I'm going to go over here, and it needed to go into just the next one down, 8. And then we got the last one along the top is, oop, that wire is busted. The other one's torn out, so we're going to chuck that in the trash. Let's try another one. Slowly working our way across the top there. This one is supposed to go into 7, so we're going to go into 7. Working our way down, working our way across. We've now done all the ones on the top. Now we're going to jump to the bottom. This goes from 6 to 1, so let's start on this side. It needs a resistor. I'm going to straighten this one out again, anticipating that's going to be difficult to put in there, so let's see. That's going to be in the 30 on the bottom. I'm going to do the middle one, and nope, it bent on me. Try a different one. Alright, that was a little easier. Yeah, let's run this one way over here somewhere. I guess one nice thing about it is they're not going to fall out once I get them in there. Alright, is that one going to stay in there? I think so. A little wire poking out over here. Yank that out. Toss it. Alright, that's pretty good. Then we got to head to the board with that one. We're in 6. Now I don't need any more resistors. All these are done. So we'll just run these across. That one goes to 5. And 4. Three, I'm not even thinking about it now, I'm just running across. 2. And back to 25 on 1. With a slight reminder that we're in that transmit pin, which is, we're not transmitting anything at the moment. But we'll keep our eye on that just in case. I think it'll be fine. All right, and I got a big old nest blocking, but we're not going to worry about that too much. I think we'll be able to see things nicely. Okay, it looks pretty good. Just went across and went straight down along this row here. So that was pretty easy, although it's a big old nest. All right, so let's do get the glasses back on. Move this off to the side a little bit. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a bunch of data types. Let's start off with the same ones we have listed in our illustration. We've got to go through each one, and we've got to tell it which pin each one is. So D1, I'm just looking up here, and then I'm looking over here. So I'm going to put A in, make it 11, F, make it 10. This is why I chose to do this illustration I found. We're just going to follow along. Otherwise, I'd have to look over here every single time. So A, pin A, pin 11 we're going to call A. That's the way I should say this. Pin F we're going to call, it's going to be pin 10. I just said it backwards again. Pin 9, it's going to be D1. And, whoop, not D1, D2, D3 is going to be 8. 7 is, B is going to be pin 7. And I'm going to lift this illustration up so I can see the bottom half. We're going to ignore the decimal point. We're going to do D4 is equal to pin 6. G is going to be 5. We're going to make C an integer as well and assign it pin 4. D we'll assign it to be pin 2. And finally, E is going to be 1. Now I'm just going to write out to the side as a TX pin. Okay, hopefully I got all these right. 12, these should just count right down to 12 to 1. And D1, AF, D2, D3, B, D4, G, C, D, E. That looks pretty good. Let's get rid of that message there. We're not going to look at anything on the serial monitor, so all we need to do is pin modes. We got quite a few to do. Got to go through every single one again. They're all going to be outputs. So, let's speed this up by doing a little copy paste. And I'm going to grab both of them. Then I'm going to grab all 4 of them and delete them all. No, I didn't mean to do that. We're going to go up to Edit, Undo. I accidentally hit the wrong key. All right. I probably need more than that. Probably don't need that many. We'll delete ones we don't need. So they're all output. Just got to go through, and this one's going to be A. Whoop. A. This is going to be F. That's D2. That's D3. That's B. D4. D5. Whoop. Not so much a whoop. I could leave it as 5. I assigned 5 as letter G. I just want to be consistent here. 2. Not 2. I did it again. D. Usually don't put letters in here. Usually put the pin numbers. And finally E. In the bottom row we can get rid of. Alright, that was a little bit faster, I think. So we're telling all these pins that are going to be outputs. D1, D2, D3, D4. Make sure I get all the letters here. A, F, B, G, C, D, E. G, C, D, E. Okay. Now on to the fun stuff. Here we just kind of set things up. We made little variables for their pins, so I can use these because they match my illustration. Now I'm going to be basically using the red one over here. And I'm going to put it right there. I know I'm partially in front of it, but I can actually, I'm not in front of it on this other monitor where I'm actually writing the program. So it'll work for me. Okay, so now we've got to do this little trick to organize our work. And this is typically what is used in programming. We're going to set up some more functions. I'm going to have a 1, 2, and a 3 walk across the screen there. So I'm just going to call it, I'm going to call it void 1. Void 1. When you make your own version, you're going to want to call it something else. If you want to make the letter E or whatever, you'll maybe call it void E. I'm going to call it void 1. Now I need to figure out how do I make a 1? Or should I do a 0? 0, 1, 2, 3? No, let's do 1, 2, 3. How do I make a 1? So I'm looking at my illustration. I need to turn B and C on. B and C. So let's go ahead and do that. Digital write B needs to go on. Digital write. C needs to go on. That looks pretty good. We'll leave them on for 1 second. Let's see, do I want to do that? How do I want them to appear? Do I want them to stay there or disappear after a minute? I think I want them to show up as a 1. I mean, it's totally up to me. I can have it just stay there and then have a 2 appear next to it, and then a 3 appear, and then a 4 appear. Or I could have the 1 show up and then disappear, and then the 2 show up and then disappear. Which way should we do it? Let's have it do it one at a time. So let's go ahead and do the delay. I have it sit there for 1 second, and then I want them to go away. So we're going to make both of these go to low. And let's go ahead and run that part. I'm going to call it up. We'll pause right there. I don't want to get too far into my program before I test things. I'm going to plug this in to my Arduino. That looks good. I'm going to tools, make sure our board and port is selected, and they are. So let's go ahead and upload this. We'll save it there. I'll give it a minute. Squeeze the pig today. And you can do it. Uploading. Done. Ooh, we got all 3 of them showing up. And the reason why that is because D1, D2, D3, let me move this over. These display pins are the ones that decide where my 1 shows up. And I didn't send any information to D1, D2, D2. I didn't send any information to D1, D2, D3, and D4. So by default, it's a low. And a low means that, okay, go ahead and send this information to every single display. So we don't want that. We want D2, D3, D4 not to display anything. So I'm going to go back and make a little correction. We're going to probably above it, just above this. We're back into the void loop, and we're going to say D1, you stay on. Just so that you understand what I'm doing, I'm going to actually put a command in for all 4 of those displays. So D1, you're going to be low, even though I don't need the low. Digital write. D2, you are going to turn off. Okay, so I got all 4 of those semicolon in my little loop. So I'm going to want to do this for each of my displays. I'm calling each of these segments displays, these 4 digits. And so the first one I'm saying only the D1 turn on, the rest off. And while that's happening, I didn't tell these to go off, they're going to stay in this state. As it goes in and looks at 1, it's going to jump down. Once it sees it, it's going to jump down to void 1 and then run this command, which is turn these 2 on, wait a second, then turn the same 2 off. So let's see if that cleans it up a little bit. We should just see the 1 after this. And there it is. All we see is the 1. All right, that worked out nice. So let's go ahead and build a function for 2. Jump down here and build it. Void 2. And in this one, it's going to be just like this one, but more. So I'm going to copy and paste this one in. And we're going to modify it, of course. But to turn the 2 on, we don't need C on. We need A, B, G, E, and D. We need all 5 of these on. So I'm going to move that back over. And for right now, let's just build out 5 of these. I know there's actually 6 there, but I'll go back and get rid of one here. Delete that one out. Delete that one out. So let's go ahead and fix these. We need the A, and then we need the B on. I know there's already a B there, but I'm just kind of working my eyeball around. And we need the E, and we need the D. We need to turn them on for a second, and then we're going to turn them all back off. So we're going to turn the A off, and then the B, and the G, E, and D. Okay. So we also need to tell it, to, if we just leave it like this, then let's think through this, then the 2 is going to, it's only going to let display 1 work. It's going to show up the 1, but then 2 is going to be slapped on right on top of it. So the 1 should become a 2. Let's just try that out. See if it just goes 1, 2, 1, 2. That's not what we want. We want to shift it over, but let's just see what this part of our code does. Okay, so it is doing 1, 2 with a little bit of interesting. Oh, well, here's our problem right here. We didn't turn these others off. I was not even expecting that. That did throw me for a minute. I had to think about it. That's why I like periodically running my program to see what's happening. If I'd waited, this would be a little bit harder to figure out. So it's uploading. There we go. There's our 1 and 2. All right, but we need to shift it over. So going back to the loop, we need to put this in here, and we're going to turn that one off by setting it high, and then we're going to turn this one low. So as I'm working my way through this, as it runs through this part of it, it'll activate the first display. It'll show the 1, and the 1 within its own little function is going to go on for a second, then turn itself off. So it'll disappear. That's what we wanted. And then it'll reconfigure, and now display 2 will be on by setting it to low. And then 2 will go on. 2 will go on for 1 second and then disappear. So let's go ahead and give that a try. See, we bumped it over just a little bit. Squeeze the pick for luck here. Uploading is going nice and fast. Nice. Look at that. So it's the 1, and then it shifts over, and we got a 2. Okay, let's go ahead and do the same thing. I want it to go 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're going to repeat this. Do 3 again. While we're up here, let's go ahead and paste in this part. We're going to keep shifting what display is available by 1 each time, and then we got to go down here and build what 3 is, what this function is. 3 is going to be, I'm going to grab, 3 requires a lot of LEDs to go on. I'm just going to grab everything in 2. We're going to speed this up. considerably here by doing this. Then we're just going to go back through it and see what we need for a 3. We need, so I'm like looking at this illustration again. We need A, B, G, C, and D. These 3 right here. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 of them in here. We just got to redo the letters. So we need the A, we need the B still, and the G still. But this needs to be a C. And the last one stays a D. Not much change. From a 2 to a 3. So we'll swap that one. So now we should get 1, 2, and 3. Let's go ahead and send that one up there. All right. It's going nice and quick. 1, 2, and 3. How about that? Move the wires away a little bit. You can see the 3 there. Let's do one more. Let's go ahead and send this down. We're going to turn that display off and turn the 4th display on. And then we're going to create a 4 function, build our own. And let's put it underneath everything. Call it 4. What do we want to do? We want it to make a letter 4. We're going to grab all this stuff above from the 3, and then we'll change the letters again. A 4 needs, we need the, I'm looking over here again, we need the F, G, B, and C. So we need 4 of these. So we can get rid of that one. Give it a little trim. So let's go fix these. We need the F, and we need the G, and we need the B, and the C. So we can get that one there. So F, G, B, and C. Delete the bottom one, and that looks pretty good. So now we got instructions for how to build a 4. That's what's kind of neat about this. I got separate instructions to build each of our numbers. So whenever I need them, I can just, in my main loop, I just put this in here and it'll go down and call up these functions. And I'm just kind of scanning as I go. So that looks pretty good. It'll just march right through these 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is going too smooth. Let's upload it. Give it a moment. Uploading. Done uploading. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nice. Okay, that's pretty snazzy. So now you can imagine that there's a lot we can do with this, and it's your job. I don't want to see 1, 2, 3, 4 on here. I want to see something else. When I come by your table to check you off, I want something else up here. I like to see, you can throw some words in there. Maybe it spells something. I'll let you use your creativity. Some things are a little harder than others to make. Some of the letters you might not be able to make if you want to do letters. So think about the shape of the letter and what you can actually make. But just toy around with it and then have it do something different than what I'm doing. And then I'll come by and check you off on that. So later on we'll learn about libraries. There's actually a library for this part, but I want to stay away from libraries as much as possible. They make our work easier, but I wanted to kind of show you kind of how, I mean, we have a huge piece of code here. It was mostly copy and paste. Every line on here, everything in here should be understandable to you. And so I wanted to maintain clarity before we go to libraries, because libraries will be, it's like a book we'll check out, and then it'll do a lot of this hidden work for us, but then it's hidden. We don't know exactly what it's doing. So Anyway, give that a try. We're going to end this video, and we'll see you in the next project.